Welcome back and thank you so much for joining us. Now, as usual, it's a tradition that we always start with our own weekend trust, and the front page is actually carrying a lot for you this morning. The major story there says the rise struggles of top northern brands. Well, I cannot wait to see what this actually says about the northern brands. Are they doing well? Are they not doing well? What is it exactly? You can go through page 4 for more details, which definitely I will also go through. And then clap back, privileged children fighting political battles. You can see the picture of tinubu and other pictures. I can't really recall the faces because it's a sketch, but then how are they fighting and the political battle? Is a clapback though, but then what do you think? Do you think privileged children are actually fighting political battles? Do you think they want to kind of maybe become like their fathers or their mothers? What exactly are they fighting? Because I feel like at this point they should, being the children of these elites, they should join hands to fight certain things that we youths need, like fighting for equal rights to the not too young to run bill that was signed, so that young people will have the access to also be part of politics and have offices that they can hold. Or are they just fighting for themselves, or what are they really battling for? What do you think?
Fatima, it's evident because the elite children these days wants to be in politics. We could see it around the Ramadan period, when tinubu was doing the Ramadan tour in the northern Nigeria states, and you could see him defending his father. We even had stories that he is going to protest for the governorship seat of Lagos state. So maybe
that is where they are, right? But then I know that a lot of Nigerians will be curious to know what exactly are they battling for in terms of politics. Go through page 11 for more details. FG2 repatriates 15,000 Nigerians stranded abroad. Yes, the chairman of the migrant refugee internally displaced persons, Ahmed Tijani, has actually come out to speak about this yesterday during a press briefing, when they said they are going to make sure that they bring back Nigerians back to Nigeria safe and in hearty manner, because they are scattered around within Nigeria and outside the country, because some actually had to flee because of the insecurities happening in their axis, and some just jackpot because they want to pursue greener pastures and what have you. But then if you notice recently, there's a lot of Nigerians that were being brought back, even from Niger, Chad and the rest. They were coming back to Nigeria. They were being deported somehow because of the ECOWAS clashes that we have. And then aside from that, the visas that were expired, and what the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, did the last time about bringing back the people that their visas have expired, or if you have entered the state illegally and what have you. So a lot of Nigerians are coming back. But it's good to see that they are looking for means to return Nigerians back to their homes safe and well, without any issues here and there. At the same time, let's not forget the issue of when VDM came out to talk about the children, that there are some Nigerians rotting in prisons in these countries, that their cases have not been heard. Parents don't even know where their children are. Some, they even think that their children are dead, because they cannot have access to them and they don't know that they're actually locked up. But what do you think about this innovation of bringing back Nigerians?
It's a very good
15,000 is actually huge to be stranded.
Fatima, this Japa situation, I find it very appalling, but you cannot blame these Nigerians because of the situation we found ourselves in. If it's the southern, when you go to the southern Nigeria, we are talking about people running to UK, Canada, and the rest of European countries. And the northern Nigeria always goes to the Middle East, Saudi, and the rest of the Arab countries. And the situation they find themselves, especially when they go there, it's
don't
really,
forget
really
the crossing
bad.
of the border as well, because some of them actually transport through seas that they could actually even lose their lives. Some have to go through deserts, days and weeks without food, just to make sure they cross over to these European countries that you're talking about.
And when you ask questions, and it just boils down to the economic situation in Nigeria, some people find it very hard to live as decent life in Nigeria, so they just think that the greener pastures are elsewhere, and they just try to like run away from it. Even if they have visas or not, they just want to see themselves outside Nigeria.
And aside from the economic hardship, I feel the insecurity is actually one thing that is eating deep, and that's what is also affecting the economy that we are actually facing right now. The hardship
that's the number one factor.
There's no safety. People are crying for safety, and we are always going to be talking about it up until we see something done. I mean, we've seen a lot of events where governors are talking about it's not to point blames at one person or anything. It's a matter of coming together to collectively work on what will actually fix the country and not put the blame on one person, because one person cannot fix the country.
Of course, that's it.
Well, you can go through page 17 for more details. Pope Leo, Bill Gates, Akpabio, Dangote, Wigwe, Shehu Sani, and the spotlight. Now, a lot is actually happening. Pope has been selected. And then Bill Gates actually, which we'll definitely talk about it later, because I've actually have this story for later. But we could as well talk about it because he's actually saying that in 2045, he's going to be giving away 99% of his wealth. And he doesn't want to die as a wealthy person. He doesn't want to leave the legacy of dying and say, oh yeah, Bill Gates is rich or he was rich, but he wants to give back.
Or he gives back to
He wants to give back, yeah. So from 100 billion to $200 billion is what he's actually looking up to actually give back, in terms of reducing poverty, and then also seeing how they can actually curb this maternal and child mortality that we always see happening, especially in undeveloped countries. So well, I feel this is a great step, for someone like Bill Gates to want to do this. I mean, it's amazing. I was dumbfounded and overwhelmed by what he actually said he was going to do, because a lot of people who don't want to even give out what they are earning right now, because they feel, oh, I have children, I have grandchildren, I wouldn't want them to be stranded, I wouldn't want them to go broke. And so this is someone that is willing to actually even give out everything in 2045, even though it's a long way to go. It's 2 decades from now, but then I know that definitely is going to be achievable. Well, you can go through page 21 for more detail. JAMB releases UTME results, withholds 39,834 more, because, like I said earlier, some are under investigation because of some, underlying issues like malpractices and what have you. So they're actually investigating some of the results before they get released. And at the same time, I can imagine what the families will be going through, because, they paid money for these children to write these exams, and they'll be waiting to see what their children have, scored, and so that they can proceed with their education to, universities and what have you. So we hope that something good will come out of it, which definitely, you can't take away malpractices in schools. And I was actually thinking about this, because when there's a security issue, when there's economic hardship, people cannot even eat a free square meal in a day. Some cannot even afford it. There's no light in some communities or even some states. These children cannot even study in the night, and they may not be able to get access to any school that they can also see if there is light for them to study as well. And I feel maybe that's the need for them to actually, just do the malpractice to see how they can, get scores and what have you. But still, it's not a reason for you to indulge in malpractice, because there is a punishment by law.
That's it.
When you're caught, there's a time that you need to serve in prison for doing this. And I feel Nigeria is actually changing to an extent. Until someone is being used as an example for doing this, then maybe some children will actually step up to see how they can, assimilate certain things that they're being taught in school, so they don't have to indulge in malpractice and what have you. But then you cannot take it away from a lot of people. They just don't want to be in school. They don't want to write exams. They just want to just get their certificates and go. But you have to write exams.
This malpractice has been happening for years. But I feel like they don't really have a reason to these days, because learning these days is very easy. It's easier than the 90s and early 2000s, because we have a lot of major sources. We have the AIs and the chat GPTs and everything, and we have access to internet, even if there's light or not. We have, you can just get this access to these informations you have the past questions
if you just
online
have
and
the
everything.
topic, or you know what you are
Exactly.
being taught in school, you have your phone.
Exactly.
Can
You can
enhance
just
your knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. You can just go through them, and that's all. Not like before that. I remember when they used to sell books for the past questions, you know, in those days, and people still go buy them, study, and
because
and,
you know we have actually gone through past questions, because you definitely see one or two questions that will still be repeated, because it's the same course.
But these days you can just at the comfort of your bedroom, you can just go through them lying down and stuff. So I don't see why they say indulge
so
in
you know, don't forget what I
practices.
said when I said there are some communities and some states that don't have light for months. And so they may not have access to even charge their phones. I mean, we used to have some callers that used to call us, but now they don't even have light in their access. They don't even call anymore, because they don't have light for months now, and you'll be wondering if they are okay. But then, you know, sometimes they try to reach out to say, oh yeah, they are fine, or they see something and they comment and stuff like that. But then there are a lot of people that we've not been hearing from. But then you can go through page 17 for more details. Deputy governor who may lose seat. Now this is, you know, with the defection that has been happening, I mean, just the next story you can see also in page 17 is 3 KB PDP senators defect to APC. Now, comprise all this together, you may see the reason why when you defect to some people, they want you to vacate the seat if possible, because you won under this party. So if you're leaving this party, moving to another party, then you have to vacate the seat you're occupying at the moment. So if they are saying deputy governors who may lose it, is it because of defection, or is it the coming 2027 elections? What exactly would make them lose the seat? I know that a lot of people want to go through this story. We'll go through page 8 and 17 for more details. What do you have to say about this defection that we've been seeing like for over 2-3 weeks now? It's been ongoing with the former Kaduna State Governor, and then we've seen Okua and the rest, and a lot is just happening. What do you think about that?
Fatima, politics in Nigeria is one complicated thing I am still trying to understand. So I just see it as something to just like expect anything and to happen, you know. This is not something you can just say, okay, this is gonna happen. And like the defection of Erifai from APC to SD is something I never saw coming. But that is politics for you in Nigeria.
Well, I mean, like I said, go through page 17 for more details, and that's the much that we have for the Weekend Trust this morning. Make sure you grab a copy for yourself.
So Fatima, let's take our viewers to the Punch newspaper. And the bold headline there is LG poll, revolt in Lagos, APC over imposition. Protest rock councils over controversial list. Party defense consensus denies allegations. Fatima, what do you think about this headline?
Well, you know, we just talked about politics. You can't take away these complications around politics every time. And then talking about protests, you know, controversial lists and what have you. Protests, sometimes I feel Nigerians at this point, I've seen a lot of, you know, people commenting and coming out to say, is protest even the way out? Is it even working? In whatever situation you find yourself in and you protest, what changes have you seen? So what if you're protesting and it's not working? Is there a need for you to devise another means to air out what you actually want the government or the country to do for you? So it's not just about protest, because sometimes protest can actually take something away. It could, you know, take lives, properties, and what have you, because you may start polite, but then it can escalate to something else that people are not expecting to be in that way. And then the party defense consensus deny allegations. Well, it's still in part of politics, which definitely you always see something like that.
Then there's this one that took my attention. Help, stranger caught on CCTV abducting my 5-year-old daughter in supermarket, says tricyclist. So, you know, these things are, I don't understand these things. These days, we always have, like, get news of people, strangers abducting minors, especially very little children, 2 years, 3 years old. And this can just explain one thing. It just explains that they are being used for ritual purposes.
Do you think
that's why? No, that's the only reason I think that's the only reason.
The murder that just happened of the 8-year-old in Kano. Aside from that, we've seen similar situation with Hanisa, or is it Hanifa? 3-4 years ago.
That's 2 years ago.
Thereabouts, 2022, I think. Yeah, so 3 years ago. And it's similar situation where the neighbor actually, or should I say, her school teacher was the one that abducted her. And then there are so many circumstances to the story where allegations of maybe she was being essayed and what have you before being killed, even after the ransom and what have you. And similar situation happened to this particular 8-year-old girl that was kidnapped by 5 people. Sometimes I feel they proceed to either use them for rituals, like you said, or when they kidnap them and then they probably even use them and then demand for ransom, and they know when they return these children, the damage is already been done, and they feel like, okay, the only way we can do away with this is by killing these children or doing something. Because I see no reason why. Luckily, camera captured this happening in the supermarket, because supermarkets always have CCTV, because they want to know people that are coming and steal from them and what have you. So now, luckily, it caught this person. Imagine if he had succeeded in stealing the child. Imagine if there was no CCTV camera.
And this is a daughter of a tricyclist. So basically, he cannot get more than 500,000 from this man.
Even at that, even the 500,000, you are not even sure the tricyclist can actually get that amount, because what if the tricyclist is not his and he's returning to also returning funds to the person that that gave him the tricycle and what have you. So it's actually sad to see that this is happening. Well,
another one is northern governors in high stakes meeting over terror attacks. I think it's about time. But Fatima, don't you think they have done a lot of meetings upon meetings because of the terror attacks, the insecurity, and what have you, and we still haven't gotten a substantial solution to these terror attacks in northern Nigeria?
Well, like I said earlier, insecurity is one thing that is eating deeper by the day, because I've always said, or should I say, we've always been saying that insecurity. We talk about it in every aspect of our news, our bulletins, programs, not just here, and other platforms as well. But then you keep seeing, so number of people have been arrested, so number of people have been arrested, but you still see the same states where they are saying 100 people have been arrested, bandits, suspected bandits, or terrorists and what have you. And then the next day you still hear another story in the same area or in the same community where they just said 100 people have been arrested. So who have they been arrested? Because to me, the number of criminals that they said they've arrested over the year from 2023 up until date, I feel to an extent would have reduced some of the insecurities challenges that the people in those communities that those bandits were arrested should be facing at this point. But you keep seeing similar situations.
I think because
the more they talk, the more they hold events, meetings, and they talk, and it's out there for people, the bandits and the terrorists, to hear what the government is planning to do. I don't think they'll even take them seriously, because it's as good as you're giving them information on what you want to do, how you're going to attack them, how you're going to eradicate them from Nigeria or even from the states that they are actually destroying. I feel like there should be secret meetings to how you want to tackle these insecurities without putting it in the public space for people to even know what you're planning to do. Let's just see the result without you giving access to these people.
They arrest these bandits, and don't forget, they make them repent. They make them repent. We have a lot of repentant Boko Haram people, bandits, and what have you. And these people, when they come back to the society, and how the economy is, they don't get anything doing, the first thing that comes to their mind is to go back to where they are coming from.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is it. Then the one last one we're going to take is marketers import 2.4 trillion naira petrol amid competition with Dangote. So now we are going to take another one from The Guardian.
Yeah, so let's take a look at The Guardian this morning. And then the major story there says, despite penalty clause, public officers defy asset declaration law. We'll go through page 8 and 9 for more details. Prioritize uniting fragmented world, Catholics urge Pope Leo to do that. Actually, go through page 2 for more details. Why JAM withheld result of 39,834, which we've already read out earlier. You can find details on page 2. Nigeria's logistics sector will worth over $3 trillion by 2030, says minister. Go through page 3 for more details. Qatari initiative in Nigeria, a welcome development, says Tinubu. And then you can find details on page 36. Intrigues in Kano, APC over Kwankwaso's planned return to the party. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we talked about this, that there are rumors that he may be defecting to the APC after the NNPP have actually kind of, should I say, sacked him, because the up and about in the story, which we have seen that a lot of people are saying, oh, he's not defecting, or yes, he's defecting.
There are a lot of political propagandas. The NNPP later claimed that they didn't, nothing like that happened. Well, these kind of things, you will be unsure, like you're not, there's uncertainty,
confusion.
Exactly,
around.
that's the word.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Go through page 31 for more details. Time to prepare for war on truth. Well, you can find details on the Guardian this morning. And NNPC diversify as Stena Bulk, Caverton unites to birth unity is shipping. Well, you can find details on page 4, and that's the much that we have for from the Guardian this morning, and that is the much that we can actually take for the front pages of the national dailies, because we are running out of time for us to open the phone lines to hear from you and your take on what we are going to be looking at this morning about a loan for palliatives if you support the move. Because I mean, a lot of Nigerians I know are going to call, why would even people collect loans for palliatives? But let's go on a break, and when we return, we open the phone lines and hear from you about your thoughts on the topic that we're discussing this morning.